Hello guys, how are you doing today? I am, post-breakup mood still, but it's okay. Everything is feeling like it will fall into place eventually. Just not at this very moment, but eventually. My name is Marissa and I am documenting my self-love journey. I've been talking about self-love for quite some time now in this channel. I started really talking about it around June, July, and I think it's what ultimately led me to this place again. I have made a lot of changes in my life once I realized the bad behavior I was allowing into my life and the bad behavior that I was portraying as a person. And I've just slowly but surely been, making those little changes where I hope that I will be ending up in a place that is full of love, gratitude, and positive mindsets. So if you guys have been here before, you know that I have shifted homes again back to my original home, where it's my home, and I'm happy to be back. This is going to be my new talking film area, so I hope you guys like it. It's actually Carla's little space and place, but we designed it together, and I was like, this is the perfect filming area, and this is the room I want to film in general. So it just worked out so perfectly. Today, what I really wanted to talk to you guys about was inner child. Your inner child, and why you should take the time to heal your inner child. About 3 years ago is when I started realizing that I might have, that maybe my brain was a little different than a lot of the world. I was realizing just how sad I was. I was realizing how I never felt like I fit in anywhere. I felt really, I just always talked about how I felt like I was never supposed to be on this earth, and I just never felt like a person that wanted to be here, and I so badly wanted to experience life and enjoy life, but I just was noticing my mind was just not right. This is pre-mental breakdown. I started seeing a life coach because I was like, I feel like I need some sort of help. And my mom was really against therapy for a very long time. I'll get into that story another day, but she just wasn't into therapy whatsoever. So I thought seeing a life coach was like a happy medium ground. And I actually paid for all my therapy and life coach sessions that I had as an adult because my mom just wasn't a believer in therapy or anything like that for quite some time. But anyway, my life coach, she, we got to know each other, she got to know my story, and then she presented to me that my inner child is still very hurt and still very wounded, and until I take care of that, I'm constantly going to be in circumstances where I'm triggered, or my inner child is out to play, or my inner child was triggered, or depression spells, or anxiety spells. And she really explained how important your inner child really is. So if you grew up with a healthy childhood, congratulations, this video is most likely not for you. But if you're anything like me and you have survived childhood trauma, then you know that there is a space and place where so many bad things are happening that all of a sudden you just kind of go numb. And this is what my life coach had explained to me. So she said when really bad things happen to kids, they just kind of go into autopilot mode and turn off, and they're not really there anymore. But then when you get to an adult, all of a sudden when you're in an argument or something, your inner child comes out, and that's the person that is arguing for you. That is the person that's making decisions for you. So even though I physically grew up, like I still am an inner child. I still have so many inner child habits and problems with me because I didn't ever take the time to grow up my inner child, nor was I taught how to, nor did I know that you had to heal your inner child. So she started really explaining to me the importance of it, and I really started grasping it, so I really started doing the exercises she would give me. And this was 3 years ago, so I'm just now understanding the benefits of healing your inner child. So again, with mental health and a mental health journey, you definitely can't expect this to be a 3 to 6, 9 month journey. It's definitely a lifetime one, just like fitness. You know, fitness, you can get your dream body and then you could just completely stop working out the next day and that body will disappear, just like your mental health. So it's just something that you have to take care of constantly. Just like if you go to the gym, make sure you go and take care of your mental health as well and do something for your mental health, especially if you struggle really badly with your mental health. Over the course of this past 3 years, I have done quite a bit on my inner child. And I thought I was kind of done with that whole inner child thing, and I've never actually talked about an inner child on my channel before. But going through this breakup right now really reminded me like how much your inner child plays in these times of your life. Like during a breakup is the prime time of when your inner child comes out, and it starts coming in with those thoughts. It starts coming in with that panic, and it starts coming in with those fears. And whenever I'm going through this transition in a breakup with someone, my inner child gets really scared that she's about to be abandoned, that she'll never be good enough for another person, that she's making a really bad decision, and that she's more comfortable being in more of an toxic environment than being alone. And I really had to realize, like, okay, this inner child thing, work is not over, and I have to do a lot more. So over the course of, oh God, I forgot there's a fire right there. So over the course of this past 3 weeks, I have been paying more attention to my inner child. So when I think inner child, I think of this little girl. This is who I see when I think of like my inner child. And I actually hung these 2 pictures up in front of my mirror in my room, so that way every single time I wake up, like I remember that there's this little girl inside of me that still has to heal and that still has some worries. And a way you can heal your inner child is by having inner child days. So go back and think of when you were a kid. And okay, so what my life coach had me do to start, even like when I first heard inner child, I was kind of like, what? Like I didn't know what I was supposed to do. So I of course had a life coach that brought me through all of this, and since I stopped seeing that life coach about 2 years ago, I continued my education on inner child work. So the best way to start working on your inner child is by going into an environment and sitting the way you used to sit as a kid. So just remember yourself as a kid and like what you used to do, how you used to dress, what you like to used to eat, and put yourself back in that like mode. So if you sat crisscross applesauce and you like to eat Skittles while watching cartoons, just do that just for a little bit and like feel yourself going back. Because the craziest thing about this human experience and us as humans is like, I had the same vision when I was a little girl. Like the only thing that changed was I got higher off the ground, my hands got bigger and older, my legs, but like my eyes still just have been what I see. Like this has been my only viewpoint. You never change your viewpoint. You're always in like you. So once you sit in that position and once you're doing the things you used to do as a kid, it can really trans you back into an inner child feeling, and you can kind of be like, whoa. So when you do that, you'll start to feel some little bit of emotions. You could be remembering a few things that you thought you forgot about or that you did forget about. And it really brings you back to like that feeling of an inner child. And just pay attention to the emotions that you feel, pay attention to how you feel, pay attention to some weird panics that might be coming up. Just pay attention and start introducing yourself to your inner child again and giving yourself inner child time. So once you established a relationship with your inner child and you realize that there is a part of you that is still very childlike and needs a bit of healing, then that's when you can start going into inner child meditations. And with inner child meditations, you can kind of go into any meditation with an agenda. So it could be a guided meditation for letting go, but in your meditation, your obligation could be letting go of your inner child. So as the guided meditation is going on, you can just be visualizing yourself with your inner child. So just remember that any meditation you do, you can switch into what you need it for. Just make sure that you're visualizing your inner child with you. And inner child meditations are so magical because for me, I see my childlike self, I see my now self, and I see my higher self. And like, they're all together. And I just realize like, there's so much to us. Like, there's so much to us. And like, how could we not want to take care of like the childlike self in us, like the child that went through some things that like this MRSA tries to push away and not remember, but that inner child needs me to acknowledge them. My inner child needs me to say that wasn't right. My inner child needs to know that I'm here now, and like those things aren't ever going to happen to us again because we're an adult now, and like I have more power now. So it's really good. It's really good to see that there's parts of you that you forgot about that aren't healed. There's also inner child days, and inner child days are really fun because just think of like what you used to love to do as a kid. I love to go to the merry-go-round. I love to go to gardens. I just love to be out in nature. So if I'm ever having like a day where I really feel anxious or I really feel like I'm second guessing my choices, I definitely will have an inner child day where I'll just go someplace where I remember how much joy this place once brought me and how much time has passed since then and now, and how different my life has been, and how all the different stages that have gone on and all the different traumas that I've gone through. And I remember the same thing is that they all pass. By the way, guys, so this is on my Instagram channel at Marissa Morales, and I have been just doing like a lot of mental health stories on my Instagram. I feel like Instagram stories are like my new favorite thing ever. Like, I don't like posting on Instagram. I just like posting Instagram stories. I find them so much more, I love that. I love that feeling more for some reason. I don't know why. Another way to heal your inner child is by having inner child therapy session. Just go into that therapy session really acknowledging traumas in your childhood and talking about them, and being conscious that there is a little girl in you that is soaking up every single word your therapist is saying, and she has been needing to hear this whole entire time, he or she. So just remember that you're not necessarily ever doing therapy sessions for the current person that is in that seat at that moment. It's more for the person in the past that didn't have time to mourn or feel the emotions you were feeling at that time because it was so intense that you had to almost block it off. So you are taking that time to unravel that ball of emotions that you've just balled up and you haven't one by one let go of. So an inner child therapy session day isn't, you know, going in and saying like, I want to have an inner child therapy session. It's just by going in and hearing what your inner child wants you to talk about that day, and go into that therapy session talking about that. And after the therapy session, just be like, okay, you see, like, we're not 8 anymore. We're not 9, 10, 11 anymore. We are an adult. That time has passed. And I'm so grateful we were able to get through this therapy session together. And I healed that in my subconscious mind, because don't forget, you also need to talk to your subconscious mind throughout all this and really be making new agreements with your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind also made a lot of agreements that your inner child made. So you have to erase your inner child's thoughts and replace them with new adult positive thoughts and replant some new seeds in your subconscious mind. So yeah, inner child work is very, very necessary to so many of us. And I really hope that this video kind of helps you understand why I'm so passionate about inner child work. And I honestly completely forgot about for the longest time until these past few weeks and the emotions that are coming up. I really was being like, wow, my inner child is back. She's like ready to play. Like, she still has some wounds that I haven't paid attention to. And the worst part about inner child work is you get to inner child work once you realize how poorly you have been treating yourself. Like, that's normally how you get to the point of learning about inner child work, is you realize that the life choices you are making are really hurting you. Like, I used to make a lot of life decisions that hurt me. They never helped me, they hurt me. And my inner child would be so betrayed by me, because it was like, what the heck? Like, why are we not even taking care of ourselves? Like, why are these bad people back in our life? Like, why are bad people back? Like, why are people hurting us again? Like, what are you doing? Like, the inner child is so mad at this adult self. Like, what the heck? And then my adult self is like, you don't understand. So it's like your mind, your inner child, and like your adult self, like, are just clashing all the time. But you get there by realizing that, like, you're fighting yourself. Like, you are hurting yourself. You are allowing bad things to happen to yourself. It's subconscious, but you are doing so. And that's why I started seeing life coaches, because I realized the decisions I was making, the people I was choosing to have in my life, the situations I was involving myself in were very toxic and very unhealthy, and I had no idea why, because I was like, I know I'm a good person. Like, I know the person that shows up to those places and with those people is not the Marissa I truly am. Like, I don't understand the switch. And that's when she was like, that's because you have a wounded inner child, and she is mad. And when you put her in a situation where she is triggered, like when you are triggered back to your childhood, she's the one that comes out and has a lot to say. And that's why, like, you just feel that disconnect. You're just like, it's not me. This isn't me as a person. And that's normally when you realize that you have an inner child in you that has not been healed. Doesn't end up well. Anywho, so yeah, I hope you're not going through a hard time in your life right now. I hope you're watching this being like, oh man, I'm golden right now. I don't have to worry about this yet. But if you are watching this because you are going through a hard time, I sympathize with you so deeply, because these times are the most testing of your character. They're the most testing of your mental health. They're the most testing of your will and your drive. They're the most testing times. A shift, a change is, to me, I hate them, but I love them, because I know they have to happen for there to be something better, or for there to be something new, or for there just to be a different reality than what you were just living. Because you normally want to shift because you're not happy, and I'm shifting because I was not happy. And when you shift when you're not happy, kind of, you know, makes you a little bit more unhappy, but it's because you're having to face yourself, and having to face the decisions you made, and having to face you. And that's just what I've been doing, and it's, you know, it's a little tricky in that mental game. But I really hope this video helps someone out there with their inner child work. And if you have any questions, never be afraid to leave comments in my comment section. I respond to everyone, not right away, but I do take the time to go through all of my comments and have conversations with you guys, because like I said, I do this channel for myself, because this is me being real with myself, but I also do this video to show people that there's more to us humans than what the internet is starting to be. Does that even make sense, Marissa? Not really. So let's start that over. I do this channel for my future and our future as a society. I'm doing this to show people that there's so much more than what meets the eye, and there's so much more to us humans that meets the eye. And I'm pro-human, I'm team human all day, every day. I love us as a species. I genuinely love humans. I genuinely love us. I genuinely love our planet. I just wish we all healed a little bit more, because once you heal more, you're able to love more. And I think what's wrong is that just so many of us are not healed, and so many of us have these open wounds that aren't visible to the physical eye. They're emotional wounds that no one can see, but they're there, and we need to start being way more open about them and showing them to one another, because then people will understand you better. People will be like, okay, I understand, like maybe that is why you've been like this for so long. Just don't forget, there's this whole physical realm, but there's also a mental realm, and there's also, you know, a lot more than just this. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and don't forget, you are what you think about. I know sometimes my thoughts can be, so just don't forget tonight, when you're laying in bed, you're thinking a bunch of crazy stuff, that might be your tomorrow. Okay, bye guys.